Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are the group 3, so we're going to discuss about the government resettlement subsidized program and the impact of the lumats on their lands. Okay, so for the introduction is that the second biggest island in the Philippines has for the past 3 years been in the radar of national daily. So the first one is that the government and the MILF, so army and other the insurgent force attacks the government forces in the eastern portion of the islands. The second one is the vulnerability of islands in the Philippines. Taking the history as the take-off point, this paper argues that homesteading as a core land distribution policy with its attendant resettlement programs or project introduced by the Americans during the early 20th century holds the key towards understanding in the current state of Mindanao. Because first is the rule of land policies in encouraging the migrations of landless peasants of North and Central Philippines. The second one is the impact of resettlement project of the native government dynamics. And lastly is because of the implications of this to ecological disasters in the Mindanao in particular and in the country in general. That's why nagkaroon ng government resettlement subsidized program.
Establishment of government-subsidized resettlement programs as core land distribution policy with its attendant resettlement projects introduced by the Americans during the early 20th century holds the key towards understanding the current state of Mindanao, Philippines. This will be done by tracing the role of land policies in encouraging the migrations of landless peasants of the North and Central Philippines. Second, the impact of these resettlement projects on the native government dynamics that had reduced insurgencies. And third, the implications of these ecological disasters in Mindanao in particular and in country in general.
Assalamualaikum and good day. I, Raifa Makudguro, together with HIS003-Ee2, are going to discuss to you the different GSRPs, or also known as the Government Subsidized Resettlement Programs that was established here in Mindanao. The first GSRP that was established here in Mindanao was on 1913, which is the Republic Act number 2254. It is an act that's appropriating the sum of 400,000 pesos for the establishment of the colonies and plantations for the cultivation of rice and other food cereals for the better distribution of the population of the island, which is the Pikit, Pagalungan, and Glan of the Cotabato Valley. The second one was established on 1914, which is the Republic Act number 2280. It is an act granting Ruperto Tamola Sr. a franchise for an electric light, heat and power system in the municipality of Columbungan, province of Lanao, and creating an agricultural colony in Mumungan, particularly in Baloe, Lanao.
Assalamualaikum, I am Ranisa A. Faisal. In continuation of the different GSRPs established in Mindanao, we also have here the year 1919, Prevention of Corruption Act 2206, where the provincial boards was authorized to manage colonies. This is where the Zamboanga opened Lamitan, Sulu opened Tawi-Tawi, Bukidnon opened Marilog, and Cotabato opened Salunayan and Maganoy. Another one is the year 1919 until 1930, where resettlement was done by Inter-Island Migration Division of the Bureau of Labor. So in this year, Kapalong, Gianga, Lagum, Lupon, and Baganga was opened in Davao, Labangan in Zamboanga, Lamitan in Basilan, Kabadbaran, Butuan, and Buena Vista was opened in Agusan, and Mumungan and Kapatagan Valley was opened in Lanao. In addition, this brought in more settlers to Pikir and Pagalungan. So as you could know, all the aforementioned places such as Zamboanga, Sulu, Tawi-Tawi, Gianga, Cotabato, Davao, Kabadbaran, Basilan, and many others are practically the whole Mindanao. So they were penetrating where the Moro and Lumad areas was located. So that would be all for our part, and thank you very much for listening.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Abdulaziz Siti Aina. I'm the one of the group 3 member. So now I'm going to discuss of impact of Luman. First is indigenous inhabitants of Mindanao were displaced and minoritized in their own land. And meanwhile, the indigenous people of Mindanao have been more self-conscious and negative and increasing vigilant of their rights. And in the displaced person are not only those people who have a voluntary lost their land. And at naging minoritized ang mga Luman. And the second is some Lumans have recruited to CPA and NPA.
The GSRPs have a huge impact to the land of the Lumans. It has been used for logging purposes and expansions of plantations. In 1903, homesteaders can own 16 hectares, while the Lumans have no provision. In 1919, homesteaders can own 24 hectares, while the Lumans can own 10 hectares. However, in 1936, homesteaders can own 16 hectares, while the Lumans can own 4 hectares. In all those years, the corporation has been consistent of owning 1,024 hectares of land. This is due to the Western influence of land ownership.